welcome one and all to the Stacks on Stacks Windup. I am Derek from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast, joined by my co-host, the one, the only, the Rumboys, Robbie. How you doing today?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Dilly. Welcome to the weekly Stacks Windup. Make sure that you guys click the link in the description section here on YouTube and you go and download the app so that you can make content with both Derek and myself.
Boom.
And many more.
Yeah, there's a ton of folks on there, right? Like it's great to see there's been a ton of fresh faces jumping on the app lately, and a lot of, and really starting to see some content kind of shifting a little bit there as well, right? Where we've kind of followed the seasons and followed the changing there, where it was primarily football during the NFL season, and now we're starting to see a lot more March Madness content coming out, a lot of college basketball content coming out, a lot of NBA content coming out, as well as the fact that that there's folks on there like you and I that are beating the drum, talking about all the NFL action going on there, as well as some of these other topics. So busy day around all the various leagues, all of the different things going on there. But let's go ahead and we'll start with one of the bigger news stories that happened earlier this week coming out of the NFL. Let's go ahead and get to it.
Calvin Ridley suspended for the entire next season for betting on 5 games during 2021.
It's not like the Falcons had playoff hopes with Calvin Ridley or anything.
He really just cost him $11 million.
Is this a harsh punishment, especially, considering he wasn't even on the team at that point in time? He bet during a 5-day stretch, apparently, on some games.
The athletes know what rules are in place. Like, they know they can't gamble on...
Look, everybody knows, as a player, professional athlete, gambling on your sport is one of the few things you don't touch.
He's smarter than that, man.
So, I'll go ahead and I'll start this one off. As much as I am in agreement that, you're an athlete, you shouldn't be gambling, on your own sport, your own team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have this wonderful thing here in beautiful America, this thing called Congress, right? And Congress is able to congressional stock trade. They're able to trade in the stock market, which that is essentially gambling, and they're getting over on a 10% more than people that are like Warren Buffett. And this is proven fact. And they actively know what's happening before something shifts, before there's about to be a crash or something or the other. So I bring that example up. Okay. This man was not on the field. He was not in uniform. It would be one thing if he were betting on himself. Let's say he went on like a prize picks or something and was like, okay, the line has me at 5.5 catches. I'm just going to make sure I drop one. That's different, because he's controlling he has direct control over that line and over, millions of other people's money. He has, and he's directly affecting that, and he's directly affecting that for himself, for the profit and the gain of himself. You weren't playing.
Yeah.
You weren't suited up.
Right. This topic is one that you can take a different stance on it, and it's so nuanced that you can take several different stances on it, and there's a ton of different ways that you can talk about this one. So so much so that we spent on our show last night, we spent a lot of time talking about this one and some of the different nuances with this one. So you're looking at it, there is some really interesting takes on this one, right? Like, to your point, Robbie, I think that you're right. Like, this is one of those that if he's away from the game, right? Like, this isn't one of those that he was actively practicing, actively at team meetings, things like that. Like, through the investigation from the things I saw, the NFL found that there was no insider knowledge, things like that of that nature going into these bets. But you can get an indefinite suspension on this one. And people want to say that, he's getting a year. No. He's suspended indefinitely and is able to apply for reinstatement in February of 2023. So there's a big difference there with that as well. So from that aspect, from like there's a ton of different ways there. Like this is one of those that the punishment for gambling on some of these things is harsher than a lot of actual criminal
crimes
activities
that happen in the league.
Yeah,
you get the NFL. The NFL with this situation literally said, feel free to commit a domestic violence, but God forbid you gamble when you're not on the field.
Right. A
And
DV will get you a 6-game suspension betting on something that, again, was found that you didn't have any insider knowledge on, gets you an indefinite suspension with a minimum of a year on there.
Exactly. And that's severely wrong, especially when we have. So wait, you mean to tell me there are physical text messages that prove that a owner of a team paid a coach to throw games, to lose games, and we're suspending Ridley indefinitely over something like we said? There's evidence. The evidence proves that he had no insider knowledge.
Right. Again, like this is one of those that I don't want to make light of what he did, because what he did was wrong, right? Like It's written in there into his contract that flat out that this is against the rules. You cannot do this. There has to be some sort of punishment there. But I think the NFL is a little just out of whack with how they what gets certain suspensions and what don't. On there. And I can understand the NFL's side of it as well, that they have to protect the integrity of the game, things like that, from the standpoint that you've seen this.
You have Dan Schneider as an owner of a team. The integrity is already shot.
You have allegations that another owner was paying a head coach $100,000 per loss. There are those allegations floating around out there as well, that there's another investigation going on. There's another investigation going on into the Washington Commanders, team structure and team organization that has been going on. That's been going on seemingly indefinitely
for years. Yeah.
And they anyway, I'm getting off a topic there, but for the most part, there's a ton of things that it just doesn't seem to quite make sense on how they distribute that and how they go through that. I get wanting to protect the integrity of the game. However, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that you have a lot of folks out there that spin the narrative that games are rigged, games are fixed, officials are calling it this way, or they want to see this one win or whatever. And when stories like this come out, it certainly doesn't do anything to help.
Yeah, it's not doing it any justice. No, right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Right, and in order for them to be a $50 billion a year business, you have to be able to protect those interests there as well. But again, this is one of those where I don't think the punishment necessarily fits the crime. This aspect.
Exactly. So I'm in agreement with you there.
Yeah. So interesting takes there, and it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out, because I believe I saw that he was appealing it, and we'll see where that ultimately comes down to it as well. So, you know what? We are right around. This is the first show that we've done in March, because we missed last week there. Yeah. But the awesome thing is March is probably my second favorite time of the year. Full on, no joke. Maybe third.
Yeah, I'd say third.
Yeah. Right around the startup of the NFL season is going to be my favorite, because I got all my fantasy drafts going on. I got all of that right around NFL playoff Super Bowl time. That's probably my second. March Madness though is right in that same realm though. That's a Super Bowl 2A, March Madness 2B type of thing. They're that close for me on this one. And we've got a ton of March Madness content going on there. Starting with some of the best overall all around things. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. Who is the greatest college player you've ever seen in March Madness? Not necessarily the greatest college basketball player ever, but who was the best player you've ever seen in the tournament? Hit me up. Let me know.
Derek, the best players ever. It's not even close. Kemba Walker, Ben Gordon.
But watching Kemba Walker in 2011 with UConn.
Kemba Walker, I actually think Ben Gordon's run was even better than Kemba's, but Kemba's was all-time great.
The best March Madness players that come to mind right now, at least, are Frank Kaminsky, Nigel Hayes, Sam Decker. And go Badgers.
Who's going crazy there and throwing out the entire Wisconsin Badgers roster?
Undefeated Kentucky team.
Christian Leitner's probably up there, even though people don't like him. You could make a case for Steph Curry and Davidson too.
Jimmer for that.
I'm very surprised though that nobody came up with Glenn Rice.
I see what you did there.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. I find this question quite interesting. I leave it to Jeff simply to be very biased, and just go UConn. Like that was it.
Yes.
I'm not like while Kimber Walker and Fredette and like while that UConn team was freaking amazing. Like, come on, bro. There's so many players. There's players even before our time that put up amazing March Madness runs that were amazing in the month of March. Obviously, Jordan, Bird, you had Christian Leitner, so many. I mean, the list
about Glenn Rice.
Glenn Rice, so many that really like impacted the game of college basketball. Like hell, JJ Redick was sick in college, bro. Like there's a lot of greats. I don't think you could go. I think the best way to answer this question is to not go bias with this one. Right. I would love to bring up a ton of Tar Heels. Like I could be like, oh, Michael Jordan, Jerry Stackhouse, Vince Carter. Like I could go there. I'm not going to.
Ty Lawson.
Yeah,
Ty Lawson. He had some great tournaments. Same with Tyler Hansborough back in the day. Had some amazing tournaments there.
Yeah, Tyler Hansborough was another name I was going to bring up. I mean, obviously Shaq, Lynn Bias.
Yeah.
Like what are we? There's your answer. That is your answer. That was going to be Jordan. If Lynn Bias never passed away, that was Jordan.
So it would have been interesting to see how those Celtics teams would have progressed into the 90s there as well with that one. But I do like what you're saying there. But again, this one here, I've said the name more than once. It is Glenn Rice. He is by far the best March Madness player in the history of March Madness. And it's very simple as to why my reasoning for that. One, led a team in which, by the way, led a team to a national championship where they changed coaches at the start of the tournament.
Yeah.
Like right before the tournament run, they changed coaches there. So, and as we've seen before, that when you change coaches, and it throws some of those wrenches into the works there, it doesn't necessarily work out well. But went on to win a tournament, and oh, by the way, still has the record for most points scored in a single March Madness tournament at 184. Like nobody else playing on a Glenn Rice level there, right? I do like some of these other ones out there that I heard, like Steph Curry, Jimmer Fredette.
Yeah.
These shooters that you saw show up. JJ Redick was another one. Like you saw a lot of these dudes that really made their mark and made their stamp on these some amazing 3-point shooting there. But for me, if I'm going to pick at one single player, it's going to be a Glenn Rice. Also, by the way, nobody seemed to mention Bill Walton, Lou Alcindor, like
Shea
none
Battier,
of these. Right. Hakeem the Dream, Clyde Drexler, some of those Fly Slam and Jamma teams back in the day. Like nobody mentioned any of those ones as well. So love this topic. It was a lot of fun there. So we talk about some historic March Madness. Let's go ahead and catch up to some current March Madness that'll be going on and something that we'll be looking at here shortly.
Do you guys think Duke is a type of team this year where we're going to get out in the first round like we have in the past? Or will we use that loss and fuel us to win the chip this year? Which one do y'all think happens?
I think that loss against UNC came up with a lot of different things. I think there's a lot of emotion in the building.
I'm not going to lie, it's a bad look.
First round exit is probably like a 9% chance.
I think they're closer to a first round exit than winning a title.
Duke is not a first round exit.
I think Duke is still in a situation where come tournament time, they're going to be dangerous. I think they're going to build a lot of momentum.
I think that the Duke Blue Devils are way closer to being a contender than a first round exit.
I'd give Duke maybe a 20 to 25% chance of making a Final Four.
The thing I'm not understanding is how is Duke inconsistent when Saturday was their worst loss of the year?
Yeah, this I feel like this was fairly easy. I don't think it's a first round exit. Could they be bounced? It's freaking March Madness, bro. Like it's brackets. Like it is the tournament of tournaments of tournaments. You know, but I think it's a bit of a stretch to say first round exit. I don't think that it's a first round exit.
Right.
I think that they are a contender for the Final Four. I'm not going to say national title, but Final Four. I do feel like they are a contender. There's so many ins and outs, you know, so many unpredictable things that take place during this tournament. Really quick, I want to make sure I throw this out, and I think this is like an important thing. I kind of already said what I said about Duke. For those of you guys that, you know, not that you're, you know, those that are going to be building your brackets. Obviously, you know, you're building your brackets. It is what it is. But for those of you that are going to be building parlay cards, please do not stack multiple games all like in a row. See, like break apart your parlay cards. You know, maybe 3 here, 5 here. You know, every parlay card that you build does not need to be 10 legs.
But the odds, Robbie. The odds.
Oh, the odds. Yeah, please be strategic. Please, you're here to beat the bookie. So I want to point that out. Like, do I think that really quick? Duke, not a first round exit. Be smart when gambling this year. There's a lot of good money to be made this year. Please.
Absolutely. Yeah, this one here is going to be a great tournament there. And this one is one of those two that it's tough to say, are they going to be a first round exit? Are they going to be a title contender? Because we don't know what their seeding is. We don't know what the team that they're playing. Right. They'll likely get a 2 seed. They'll likely be playing a 15 seed when it's all said and done. Like if you had to pin me to a take today, I would say that they're probably going to be a 2 seed playing a 15 seed, in which case the 15 seeds tend not to end up win those first games. Like their 15 seed. It's a very low historical margin that you see those win, but it does happen. So it very well could be the fact that they could get bounced, but I'd put the likelihood of them getting bounced sight unseen on whoever they're playing at somewhere between 10 and 15% type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very low percentage that they'll get bounced. Could that fluctuate? Sure. They could draw a very tough deal in which maybe the percentage moves up to 20% that they get bounced, or it could move down to like 5% that realistically they may get bounced.
And the fact that we're utilizing the UNC game as a measuring stick, knowing that the emotion that was in that building and knowing how much those two schools just dislike each other.
Right.
Like,
you can't tell me that the Tar Heels didn't sit there and go, oh, we've got a chance to play spoiler on a home crowd and like really take it to our arch rival here. Like, you know that players and coaches, like they, you know,
especially in college basketball. Yeah, especially in college basketball. Like in college basketball, the rivalries are real.
Right.
Like, no, come on. That's not a good measuring stick, guys. For the way I say that you treat that game, that UNC Duke game, just appreciate it for what it was. That's it. Straight up.
We got a couple of comments coming in on Twitter, both Derek and at Z2 Fantasy telling us some fire emojis there. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Also, Matt on YouTube. I think with him having that Michigan background there, little picture, I'm going to say that he was responding back to our Glenn Rice comments, being the GOAT.
I think that's his Lakers background, bro. That's his Lakers background. What up, Matt? What's good, bro?
You know what? It could be Lakers, but I'm just going to say that, you know, he threw it out there for the Glenn Rice comment because he agrees with me that he's the GOAT.
Hey, Matt, I got a parlay card that I'm going to drop in the Discord later, bro. I got you.
All right. I like it. All right. Let's go ahead and head back, and we're going to talk some more NFL here. And a great topic going on.
A thought just occurred to me. If the situation came down to it and Green Bay came to Rodgers and told him, we can give you $50 million a year, but you can't have Devontae Adams with it too. Or you can take less and have Adams as well. Do you think Rodgers would take it?
I'm going to take my $50 million, take it to the bank.
Part of me thinks yes, he would take it, and still expect Green Bay to keep Tay.
I don't think he'll stay in Green Bay without Devontae Adams there.
Well, after 3 or 4 years of the Green Bay Packers front office basically giving Aaron Rodgers the middle finger and saying, we don't trust you, we think you're too old, we're going to trade up to draft your replacement, we're not going to draft or acquire any talent around you.
Honestly, I think he is that arrogant that he would take the money and try to prove it himself.
He should tank them himself.
This one's
Man,
like
that guy that mixed those up, I always love those buzzer sounds. That always brings a smile to my face when I see that.
did good. I laughed. I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that.
Right. Also, real quick before we get into it, before I forget, Z2 Fantasies question on the Twitter asking what the YouTube channel is. The YouTube channel is Stacks App over there on the YouTube. So anybody listening, do us a favor, hop over there, click the subscribe button, catch it when we go live with all of these. Plus, you can see a lot of the videos we're showing here and many more when we're through some of our shorts and a lot of great, clips going on over there as well. But Robbie, so your thoughts here around Aaron Rodgers taking the money? Is he taking Devontae Adams? That clip was obviously done before we got the news yesterday of Aaron Rodgers coming back and the supposed signing of the contracts there. But what are your thoughts?
So really quick, I'm dropping the link over in the Twitter live stream for you, Z2. So you should see that momentarily. In terms of the the whole Aaron Rodgers situation, I'm trying to treat this as if like I don't know what I already know, like what happened had already happened. In terms of the Aaron Rodgers, I mean, obviously they tagged Adams and they whatchamacallit, and then they signed Rodgers for 4 years, $200 million. But that aside, had that not been the deal, had that not gone down, I don't think there was any way that he was going to end up taking less, or he was going to take his $50 million and run or whatever. I don't think that any of those things were on the table, or any of those were conversations that were going to be had. The Packers were going to keep both of them, irregardless. Like it was going to happen at any and all costs. How much did it cost? Possibly everything. Shout out to Thanos on that line for all my Marvel fans out there. But all in all, it ends well for the Packers. So that's my approach with that one. I saw that when I saw that battle or when I saw that stack on the app, I was just like, like the only take I have is that I couldn't allow myself my brain to go in towards that thought process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I just didn't see it.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see because when this one's all said and done, he's coming back, but again, it's going to be more of the same of what we've seen here, right? Like he'll put up great statistical performances. The Packers will win a bunch of games and still not make it to a championship game, not make it to the Super Bowl, or not win a Super Bowl there. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, right, like it was originally reported that he signed for 4 years for $200 million, averaging out to about $50 million a year there. Now he's since come out and refuted that and say that, that was inaccurate, things like that. But regardless of all of that, his dead cap here heading into the season, which is the published information that we've got, and that's where we're going to be looking at, and that's where I'm going to be taking this take us. His dead cap space going into this year was $46 million. Over the last 20 years, right, we had a conversation with this offline yesterday with Derek over there on the app as well, where the highest paid quarter, like the team that had a team that wins the Super Bowl, their salary cap hit can be 12%, like on the high end or less. Aaron Rodgers is going to equate somewhere in the 20% plus neighborhood, and that's going to make it incredibly difficult for him to be able to compete. The Packers are still like about $50 million over the salary cap limit. Last I looked on this one, they have massive troubles there. They're not going to be able to bring back and re-sign a bunch of guys. Like this team that they're going to be able to put out there this year, I don't know on paper at this point will not be able to be as good as last year.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as good as last year. I think that they're gonna from an X's and O standpoint, they're gonna go out there and try and recreate a lot of what they did last year. I don't see like a whole lot different. Z2, I was actually about to get into that. With all the Packers news, do they finally target a wide receiver in the first round? You would hope so. Yeah, you would hope so. But it's just not the Pack way. It's not the Packer style. They usually don't attack that position in the first round. So knowing that, and with that being said and stated, they're going to have to try and figure out a way to get Rodgers a 2. It's either a 2 or a very solid stud tight end. It's like it's one of those two, and I don't see either of those things happening because of tagging Adams and what it costs to retain Rodgers.
Oh, by the way, Bobby Tonyan is a free agent.
Yep.
Marcus Valdez-Scantling's a free agent.
Yep.
I'm not sure what Randall Cobb's status is there, but
old as hell.
Yeah, well, that's a given, but I don't know what his contract status is there.
Yeah.
Same thing with Alan Lazard. I believe he's right there towards the end of his contract as well. He may be a free agent. I'd have to look that one up there. Sorry, I don't have that information off the top of my head, but like they've got massive holes on the offensive side of the ball that they're going to have to try and fill and plug those holes. They've got massive holes on the defensive side of the ball as well that with guys being free agents that they're going to have to try and fill. And this one here, again, I just don't see a way that the Packers are going to be as good on paper going into the season as they were last year. I don't see a way of making that one happen with the issues in the salary cap constraints and all the positions that they still need to fill. Like I just don't see it happening.
You're talking about 33.3% of your roster that's going to be gone on average. This is across the board for all 32 teams.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose 33.3% of your roster because of either free agency, trades, retirements, et cetera, promotions, demotions, from practice squad moving up, everything like that. So,
and by the way, Packers fans, 2 players on your roster are going to chew up roughly about 30% of your salary cap.
Yeah.
2 guys like that does not there. There's a reason that your quarterback has to be at 12% or less of their salary cap in order to win, because you've got to put, 22 other guys out there on the field from an offense and a defense perspective. And by the way, have backups and depth in order to run practices and have depth in case somebody gets injured. And it's the NFL. Somebody will always get injured.
Somebody is going to get injured.
It's a contact sport. Z2 Fantasy chiming in, losing Campbell Douglas on defense is huge. Have Zarius and Preston Smith as potential cap cuts as well. Absolutely. Like that just underscores the point that I was making, that they've got holes that they are not going to be able to fill.
You're not wanting, if you're the Packers, you're not, your defense was already give and take as is.
Right.
You're in a rough position, Wisconsin. I wish you all the best of luck, but enjoy the hype right now, because it could very well potentially be a very disappointing season. Teams are getting better. You stay the same.
Right. Now you'll be a playoff team because that division around you is
just
absolute
basura.
Mess.
Yeah, straight basura.
So you can pretty much schedule them in for 10 plus wins because of the division they're in, and the NFC is also on the weaker side of things. But yeah, it's going to be a rough go, and Packer fans are, I have a feeling, are just going to end in disappointment again this year. But let's go ahead and move on to our last video here. We're heading back to March Madness topics. Let's go ahead and hit this one up. Let's talk about the best team in March Madness history. Now, you get to pick one team to make a title run. Hit it up. Let me know.
1979 Michigan State Spartans with freshman Irvin Magic Johnson.
72-73 UCLA Bruins with Bill Walton.
The one that I'm going to lean on, though, is actually going to be the year previous to the 72-73 team, and that's going to be the 71-72 team.
1992 Duke Blue Devils with Hurley, Leitner, and Grant Hill.
The best team I ever saw was the 2001 Duke Blue Devils.
I think that the 2018 Villanova team was the most dominant throughout.
So some great options there. Robbie, a little surprised there weren't any Carolina teams on there, and I know you just want to set the record straight there.
I do. I want to say that 81-82 Tar Heels team. The Worthy Perkins setup that you had going
Don't
there.
Forget about MJ.
Yeah, MJ, obviously. I think that's your. I think that if we were talking, we would put them in today, right? And have to make a run. I think that team is going to be the team to do it, and I find it highly offensive that no one said them, but it is what it is.
I was one of those that I was going to go that way because I'm a Carolina Tar Heels fan there, a big MJ fan, a big Dean Smith fan. Like it was one of those. But then when I looked at that, right, like that Carolina team didn't have they didn't have those standout dominant performances down the stretch in that March Madness tournament there. Like they certainly won and they got the job done, but it was not a standout performances there. And that's why I ended up settling on that 71-72 UCLA team. They had great talent on it. They had arguably the greatest college head basketball coach ever with John Wooten. It is tough to deny all of those titles hanging from the rafters there at UCLA. But when you look at the average score of that UCLA team, it was 95-64 over the course of that season.
Yeah, that's not even fair.
Like it's one of those that just wire to wire domination there. They went undefeated. Like it's a team that I don't know. Like that's still a team that probably could hold up in today's league, even though it has drastically changed there on that one. So a lot of fun there. Z2 Fantasy chiming in there as well. 76 Hoosiers could play, and Bob Knight's a great coach. Bob Knight's a winning coach. I don't know.
He's a winning coach. He's a winning coach. He's a winning coach. I would not play for Bob Knight, bro.
Right.
I would not. You're not yelling at me.
That 76 team was the last undefeated national champion out there.
Yeah.
So like they did some great things. They had some great programs in Indiana there, but I don't know that I would stick them up against those UCLA teams from earlier in the era.
Had a movie made after him. I mean, how iconic is that? So right? I mean, I'll give props to the Hoosiers, but I'm way too biased towards my Tar Heels to do that. Like to go there. It's UNC all day for me. But you are right about UCLA. You are right about that UCLA team.
Right. So, all righty. Well, Robbie, I think that's going to take us down here to the end of it. Any final thoughts out there for the listeners and viewers?
Link is in the description. Download the Stacks app. Make content seamlessly with some of your favorite content creators. Discuss some of your favorite sports topics across the whole entire world of sports. Whenever you download the Stacks app, we got a lot of interesting news dropping. So make sure you guys do follow us at Join Stacks app on all social media. Okay, and yeah. Aside from that, get excited for the 13th. We'll know how these brackets are going to shape out, who's going to be playing who, and get them all set. And hopefully somebody comes away victorious. I'm not trying to say too much. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, you don't say. You've
keeping it playing.
You came up to the point of like, ooh, this is going to be a tease, and they're like, nah, we're just going to stop short of a tease. I'm going to go into a full-on tease here with this one. And so a couple of things to be on the lookout, right? Robbie already told you to make sure that you're looking at the socials, Join Stacks app on the socials. And particularly tomorrow morning, you'll want to be looking at those because we got some stuff happening. I'm not going to tell you exactly what, but there's something coming on. There's something, a lot of fun coming out tomorrow morning. There will be a link in some of the posts for these social applications and these social media platforms that you're going to want to check out. And that's where I'll leave that. So tomorrow morning, set your calendar, set an alarm. I don't care what it is. Make sure you're following all of the socials, Join Stacks app, so you can get that. And come hang out with Robbie and I in this very fun thing that we're going to be kicking off tomorrow and launching there. You don't want to miss it. That's all I'll say. You don't want to miss it. The fear of missing out will be real with this one. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. Also, a good other idea would be to download the Stacks app and hop in some of these conversations. Yeah, this is one of those that I've had a few folks kind of go, hey, how can I make it onto this show? Hey, how can I hop on here and do some of this? It's real easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. Go ahead, download the Stacks app, give your take while you're in here. And, we're going through, we're cutting up videos all the time. We're for
looking for
different
new
things.
faces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Looking for new faces on these things. So download the Stacks app, hop on there, give your take, and you may see yourself up here on one of these shows giving your take and getting to interact here with some of these folks back and forth as well. So absolutely love it. But that's going to do it for us. He's Rum Boys Robbie. I'm Derek from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Have a good one. Be safe. Download the Stacks app.